Here we are at practice set number 1 for the diagram question. This time we're going to be taking an example from the Cambridge IELTS book number 8, test number 1. This is reading passage number 1, so the question set is going to be a little bit easier. And remember that when we have mostly in order questions, for example, the diagram question is an example of mostly in order question. So when we have questions that are mostly in order, if these questions appear in reading passage number 1, then they are more likely to go in order. As opposed to if they appear in reading passage number 3, then they are more likely to be a little bit disordered. Alright, so let's start answering this question set. We're going to start over here at the top with the title, A Chronicle of Timekeeping. So it seems that it's going to be talking about the history of time, things related to how we keep time. It's probably going to talk about clockwork and so on. So now that we have a general idea of what this article is going to be about, let's move on down to our question set. And let's start off by reading the directions. It says, choose no more than 2 words. So each one of our answers can only be 2 words or less, but not more. Let us also read this title. The titles of the diagram can be very helpful in helping us to identify the matching paragraph. So the title says, How the 1670 Lever-Based Device Worked. So right away in the title, I see that we have an excellent keyword. We have a number here, 1670. That is going to be very easy for us to find. I also see lever-based. That one I'm not so sure about, but 1670 is definitely a good keyword. So we're going to use these keywords to identify the paragraph that is going to contain our answers, the paragraph that talks about how this device worked. Because most of the times in the diagram questions, the question set is going to come from only one paragraph and maybe 2 paragraphs, but most of the times it's going to come from one main paragraph. So what we're going to do is we're going to be scanning our reading passage for these keywords in order to locate our matching paragraph. Then once we have found the right paragraph that talks about this diagram, then in that paragraph, I'm going to start scanning for keywords from the question. For example, here I have the word escapement. Down here I have beats. And here I have arc. So those are some decent keywords. We don't really have any keywords for number 10 and number 11. So those ones we'll have to look for the answers for by trying to look for synonyms for what this diagram represents. For example, right here I see some sort of a sharp gear that is turning, that seems to be turning. So we're going to have to search the paragraph to look for language that describes these features of the diagram. So we'll get to that soon. Right now, I want to first find my matching paragraph by using these keywords. So let's start to look for 1670, and then we'll also look for lever-based around that area once I have already found 1670. So here we go. Let's start from the very top. So I am scanning for 1670. See a bunch of numbers there, but nothing about 1670. Still scanning. Here we go, 1670. Great. So now that we have located this keyword, I also want to look for our other keyword, lever-based. So I'm only looking for this other keyword after locating my main keyword or my easy keyword. So here I see lever-based. I remember that I mentioned escapement in one of the questions. Let's see what else. Over here it mentions tooth. And I know that tooth is referring to this sharp shape over here, to this sharp shape on the wheel. It's probably referring to that because that is a description of what this diagram is showing us. I also want to look for this other keyword, beats, and then for this keyword, arc. So let's also look for those in our paragraph. This has made our job so much simpler now, because now that we have located the keyword from the title, we have basically located the entire paragraph in which we're going to find all of our answers. So that's why it can be very helpful to look for the matching paragraph first by paying attention to the keywords from the title. And once you have located that matching paragraph, then you could come into that paragraph and you can start to look for keywords from the questions themselves. Over here it mentions something about the wheel, which I know could be a description for what we saw in the diagram. Let's see, it mentions escapement here again. It mentions that small arc. I remember that that was another one of our keywords. And here it mentions beat. Beat. So since we have so many answers in this paragraph, obviously it makes sense to read this entire paragraph. So feel free to do that. You can just go ahead and read this entire paragraph. What I would suggest though is probably by going through this paragraph question by question rather than reading the whole thing at once. You can do that if it works for you, but I think that it would be better to come down to the question itself. So what I mean is answer each question one after the other. So for example, what I would do in this case is I would start off by first answering question number 9 because I already see the word escapement. So that's going to be easy to find the answer for. Number 10 and 11 are going to be a little bit trickier. I mean, it's going to be still simple. It's all in the same paragraph. But number 9 is going to be more easier because it already has the keyword that we're looking for. And the same thing is true for number 12. Okay, so I'm going to answer number 9. Then I'm going to answer number 12. And then also number 13 as well. Number 12 and 13, they go together. So number 9, then number 12, then number 13, and finally, I'm going to answer number 10 and 11. So that's how I'm going to go about this. So let's start off with escapement. So I'm going to first read this sentence. I'm going to start up here because it also mentions escapement right here. So let's start reading from here. To address this, a variation on the original escapement was invented in 1670 in England. It was called the anchor escapement, which was a lever-based device shaped like a ship's anchor. Alright, now let's come down to our question. Here it says, escapement resembling. Resembling, that is one of our connecting words. Resembling is synonym language for shaped like. To be shaped like or to look like is synonym language for to resemble. So the lever-based device resembled what? What was it shaped like? Well, it says here, it was shaped like a ship's anchor. Ship's anchor. So that is going to be our correct answer for number 9. Ship's anchor. And since I have found my answer to number 9 here, I'm going to put number 9 right there. So the escapement resembled what? It resembled ship's anchor. You can put ship's anchor or you can also just put anchor. That would also be the correct answer. Here you can have a one-word answer or a two-word answer. So anchor or ship's anchor, both of those are correct answers. Now let's move on down to number 12, where it mentions beat. And the question says, a dash, this is going to be something, a noun, a dash which beats each what? Let's find out. We have the word beat down here. So let's read this sentence. It says, moreover, this invention allowed the use of a long pendulum which could beat once a second. There we go. The long pendulum that could beat once a second. And then it mentioned some other stuff and thus led to the development of a new floor standing case design which became known as the grandfather clock. Alright, we don't care about that. We've already found our answer over here. That is our matching sentence for question number 12. So let me take you down to the question one more time. A dash which beats each second, right? What beats each second? A long pendulum beats each second. And that's what it's showing you over here. See, this is a diagram of a pendulum. This is a pendulum. And it is swinging from left to right, from one side to the other side. Or it is moving in a rhythm that has a beat per second. It moves once per second. So over here, the correct answer is going to be pendulum and once a second. Now, just to let you know, over here it says a long pendulum. So if you want to include the word long, that is also fine. You can have a two-word answer, so it doesn't matter if you write long pendulum or just pendulum. Both of those are going to be the correct answer. Now I'm going to put number 12 next to this line since that is where I found the answer to question number 12. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to fill that in here. A long pendulum or just pendulum. They're both correct. A long pendulum which beats each second. So number 12 and number 13, also going to put that in there. Great. So we have found the answer to number 9 over here and the answers to 12 and 13 over here. So the most likely scenario right now is that we're going to find our answers for question number 10 and 11 in between these lines, right here somewhere. So let's read this. Number 10 says that this is the what? It's going to be a noun, and this is also going to be a noun. It's asking us, what are these things called? They want you to take a look at the picture, they want you to look at the diagram, and then select the correct language to describe these features, to describe this equipment. So right here, this big part, well, it looks like some sort of a wheel. Something that rotates, something round. So I'm going to be looking for synonyms for something round, something like a wheel or a gear. I'm going to be looking for words like that. And then over here, number 11, this looks like something sharp, something triangular perhaps, and something like a teeth. It looks like a sharp teeth on an object. So I actually already see some language about that in here. I see that it mentions tooth, which is something sharp, and here it mentions wheel. So I have a feeling I'm going to find my answer somewhere around there is probably going to be my matching sentence. So I'm going to start reading this sentence over here. The motion of a pendulum rocks this device so that it catches and then releases each tooth of the escape wheel, in turn allowing it to turn a precise amount. Alright, so it's mentioning the sharp object, which is the tooth, and the round object, which is the escape wheel. Well, that means that this is going to be our answer. Tooth is going to be one of our answers. I'm going to put that in green, and wheel is going to be another answer. So right here, for the other answer, you can put wheel or you could just put escape wheel. Both of those are going to be correct. So let's come down to our question. This part is the wheel. You can put wheel or you can put escape wheel. Both of those are going to be correct. And then this part over here is called the tooth. Alright, it's called the tooth. Guys, I want to point out to you one thing. It's a mistake that sometimes students make, which is that instead of writing the word tooth as the answer, they might put the tooth. See, if you do this, then your answer is going to be marked wrong. The reason is that the word the already appears over here. So you don't have to rewrite it. Don't write it again. The same thing is true for number 10. If there is a certain word that already appears before the blank line, such as the or then don't write that in the answer choice. That's going to make your answer wrong. So only put the relevant answer, the correct answer, and don't put extra words that don't belong. Great. So we are now done with this question set. We have answered all of these questions, and I hope that you have a better understanding of how to go about answering the diagram question. Just to summarize everything for you, what you have to do is you have to locate the matching paragraph by either looking at the diagram. You can guess the description of the diagram if there is no title. But if you do have a title, then that's fantastic, because oftentimes you can use the keywords from the title to locate your matching paragraph. Once you locate the matching paragraph, then you have to locate the keywords from each one of these questions, and then just start to answer these questions by starting off with the easy ones first. So that's it for this one. In the next video, I'm going to be taking you through practice set number 2. I'll see you there.